Welcome back to Garden Ninja. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use one of these, a turf cutter. Now you'd use a turf cutter to save yourself time and effort when taking up turf, because it can be really hard work on your arms and legs, lifting and shifting all that turf. So a turf cutter is a fantastic tool to use to save yourself some time. So I'm going to show you today how to safely and effectively use a turf cutter to make taking up turf a piece of cake. Come on, let's get started. So here we have the actual turf cutter, and this is a petrol powered one, so you don't need any cables or anything that needs to plug in. It also means that it's really strong, it can get up even the most sort of thickest stubborn turf. So first thing to note, there's always an on-off switch. So to prime it, you need to turn it on. Obviously make sure there's petrol in there, that it's been serviced and it's got oil. Put the choke on so that it doesn't choke out. Put that on low to get it started, to get it warm. And you pull this cord here, which will then start the turf cutter. As soon as it started to tick over, you can fully open up the choke and then start to use it. Another thing to pay attention to is the depth of the cutting tool. So on this model, there's a big knob here that if you turn that round, it will raise and then lower the turf cutting arm. What the turf cutting arm does, let's put those goggles down, is it slices under the turf at an angle, and as the machine drives over, it then lifts and it kind of spills out the back like a big sort of slab of cake. So you need to make sure that you set that to the right depth dependent on how much turf you need to take up. So a few little tips on safety, because it's really important that whenever you're using machinery that you're safe. So here I've got some goggles to make sure that anything that might get thrown up, like rocks or debris, don't go in my eyes. I've also got a pair of ear defenders in my pocket that I'm going to put in, because it's quite a loud machine, so if you're using it for a long period of time you don't want it to hurt your ears. And I've also got on, if I stand up, some rather nifty steel toe cap to wellies. The steel toe cap goes all the way across, so even if I was to accidentally run myself over with this, hopefully it shouldn't slice through and cut my feet open. So safety first, make sure you're wearing the right gear, take your time. So I'm going to take it onto the field now and show you how to cut up turf. So first things first, you need to turn the power on, click, and then you've got your throttle here that's going to start the engine. So make sure your choke's set at the right position, gloves, steel toe cap boots, and then slowly, there we go. So get your turf cutter into position. So obviously do this before you turn the engine on, before you start fiddling with anything. Get it into position, start it up like I've just shown you, and then there should be a lever somewhere. On this model it's here. And whenever you're ready and you've set the depth of the turf that you want to cut, pull this down, and then using the throttle, it will then start to drive the turf cutter across the turf, slicing up the turf. But start small, do it in small chunks and make sure it's the right depth and that you're comfortable. Again, safety gear. Let's get cracking. Once you've undertaken the first pass with the turf cutter, just check that it's at the right depth. So you want it to have taken off the roots and left a nice clean line. Work in small sections until you've taken off all the turf that you need to, and then you can either retransplant the turf somewhere else or turn it upside down, put it at the back of a border and make loam compost. And there you have it, everything you need to know about using a turf cutter. I've been Garden Ninja. If you like this video, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel, where there's more garden design tips and how-tos. Thanks for watching, happy gardening.